Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Alright, cool. Good evening, good afternoon. Welcome. I thought I'd start the stream with my favourite comment that's been left on YouTube in the last 20 odd hours on the channel. I think this is my favourite comment. And that's what I've titled the stream tonight. I don't think the points drop really fixed the problems with Blood Angels. I probably couldn't agree more. But I'm going to enjoy this while it lasts. So, jump spam, let's go. Alright, I don't know if anybody... I think this is a sentiment we can probably all agree with. Good evening, can you hear me okay? How is everybody today? I hope you are excited to build a new Blood Angels list. I'm going to talk a little bit tonight about the points changes and stuff. I'm also going to talk a little bit about, I think, what I feel will be like the next Blood Angels list I run, and probably why I'm going to run it, right? Hello from Spain, Klingvar. Hello, Grain of Truth. Right as I got on here, somebody said, John, you the man. That was very kind of you. Jack, thank you so much for that. Hello, Gareth. Hello, Bloodlines. Hello, Michael. Who else is in here? Nikki. That's a name I haven't seen before. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Snicks. VT, what's happening? Is Cariot? Not sure we've met before. Hello. Carl, good evening. I am whelmed with the changes. What the hell does that mean, whelmed? You're underwhelmed or overwhelmed? No, you're just whelmed. You're like bang in the middle. I don't think I've ever... Can I have the window open a bit more? Yeah. I get a horrible glare on my monitor when the window's open. But yeah, this is the comment that I felt summed up how I sort of feel. Diatone, what's happening? Dante still needs to be upgraded. Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, we can get into... do you know what? This comment kind of sums it up perfectly, right? Like, a lot of our characters are not that great, but I mean, I guess if you make everything just 10 points cheaper across the entire list, we're going to be in a good position. Tarzan, thank you so much for becoming a company veteran. Do appreciate it, dude. Thank you very much. If you do become a member, please head over to our Discord. There's a members only room. You're very welcome. You're right in the middle, says Carl. Sorrowless Doom. I mean, if you look at the Divergence Codexes, we got one unique unit model, and that's the Sanguinary Guard. The rest is a coat of paint difference. Okay, let's not drop to how ununique our models are. We know that. We've been bitter about that this edition already. Let's focus on the positives. So let's start with points. Will we start with points? Yeah, let's start with points. So I was playing Ultramarines last night. So I couldn't cover this yesterday, or I would have covered it yesterday. Spoiler, Ultramarines are still very, very strong, because I played the new rules for Ultramarines last night. That's my second game with Ultramarines, and I have scored 90 plus points both times. They are still very good. Gilliman is still very good. I guess Ultramarine players are unhappy they lost some CP, but honestly, their army is still very good. Okay, so, yeah, we're going to talk about each unit that's changed. Will we talk about units that haven't changed? Well, we'll mention them in passing, because there's some things to say as well. Hello, Charlie. Hello, Cambo. At least you didn't lose any Primaris units, says Cambo. Yeah, I mean, some other factions just lost Primaris units that were only 4 years old, yeah. Okay, Astaroth. 95 points. He is... Do you know what? We'll pull up some data sheets as well. We're gonna be live for a little while, so yeah. I haven't got a time set on this. I'm just gonna have fun and talk about it, and we'll see where it takes us. Yeah, if you are a green name, remember you get a free super chat. So if you want to call my name if you want to call something out, you want to get a shout out, use your free super chat, or you can do a real super chat. And if you can, at some point, let me press this stupid like button that I always forget to press. If you like the stream, please leave a like. It does help me out. 100 likes is what I need to get on every stream. Basically, if you get 100 likes, YouTube might actually put this video in front of some other people. If I don't get 100 likes, I get like you know, don't get very much traction. So I'd appreciate it if you could press the like button. Alright, so Astras, toughness 4, 4 up save, 5 wounds. So it's pretty much the exact same profile as a Space Marine captain. I guess he's got a 2 up save rather than a 3 up save. 6 attacks if we focus on Liberator Assault Group. It's 7 attacks at Strength 9. Strength 9 is not that meaningful a breakpoint, I guess. He does have Devastating Wounds. He does have Precision. He gives Death Company a 4 up Fight on Death. He gives them Devastating Wounds when they charge. I mean, those two things in themselves are not bad. Astrath was getting no play, literally none, at 105 points. Could you include him for 95? I mean, certainly he's better. Death Company with Fight on Death isn't the worst thing in the world. If only half the Death Company you hopefully fight back with a couple of guys with Power Fist. I guess you can't choose though, because Fight on Death is model by model. So you would hope like one Power Fist, one Chainsword fight back. It's not the worst. I think Astrath, he doesn't have grenades. Yeah, so I mean, I guess just keep that in mind. He doesn't have the grenades keyword. He can only lead Death Company with jump packs. Am I taking him before or after? Do you know what? The best way to do this will be to ask you guys to poll. So there's going to be a lot of polls. So 65% of people are happy with this data slate. I thought overwhelmingly people would be happy. Let's just do simple polls like, are we taking Astaroth now? Yes or no, please be honest. So he has 95 points. I mean, I guess he competes with the Chaplain, he competes with Lamartes, he competes with the new Death Company captain with Jump Pack. Hello, brother. Do you want a graphic designer for your YouTube thumbnails? I mean, you could have... Hey! Yeah, I'm no graphic designer, if that's what you're asking. Strength 9 is also good against winged demon princes. Oh, sure. So the issue I see with Astrath is he is still going to need +1 to wound a lot of the time when he's fighting, right? It's not Astrath that's bad, it's the unit. So, I mean, you can try and rely on Devastating Wounds. You have no rerolls to wound typically, so Devastating Wounds either swings high or swings low. David says you should have added a he's worth a try now to the poll. Yeah, you're probably right, David. He is maybe worth a try now. At 95 points. Yeah. It would have been cool if you could attach to more than just Death Company. Like, if you read the books, right? And I know the books don't always match what's happening on the tabletop. But typically in the books, he's not rolling around with Death Company. He is hunting and killing the Death Company. In the books, in the recent book, in the recent Astrath book, I'm pretty sure he was just with Assault Intercessors on foot, right? Or was it just Intercessors? I should remember that. I only read that book a couple of years ago. But he is... In the book, he was not... He's his, like, own entourage. They're not Sangre Guard. They're just, like, bodyguards. So the fact that he can only lead Death Company with jump packs is a restriction that seems overly restrictive. Because in the lore, he does not do that. Yeah, maybe he's good against Custodes. Maybe... Daniel says he's sick in a 5-man squad. I am indifferent. I've used him in the 10-man squad. I didn't think he was all that great. A 10-point drop for me. Yeah, maybe. I think if you want your Death Company to fight on death, this is really the only way you can do that, right? So maybe that's the way you take him. 95 points, cool. He's down 10 points. I don't think it's overly meaningful. The poll says that out of the 50 people watching, 70% say they're not taking him. Okay. Ball Predator down 10 points. Well, we all know what the Ball Predator does. It's an Overwatch shenanigans machine, whatever you want to call that. You obviously equip the Flamestorm Cannon, you probably equip the 2 Heavy Flamers, and then the Ball Predator now rerolls advances. So it's very fast. Moving 12, rerolling advances. Flamestorm cannon of 18 inches. I felt like it was playable at 125. Aradine, good evening. And it is gone. It went up to 135 and then it has come right back down to 125. So I did feel like when it went up to 135, no one was going to take it. I think that's exactly what happened. So it's gone up 10 just to come down 10. What do we think? Ball Predator, are we taking it now? Let's see what chat says. The Jump Chaplain only makes the Death Company so powerful. Yeah, I think we're going to talk about Jump Chaplains in a few minutes, even though they didn't go down on points. Soulless Doom says, I love that little anger brick. Yeah, I think, well, I suppose we'll get to Death Company with Jump Packs shortly. I think Ball Predators will probably see a little bit more play. They're fine at 125 points. I thought they were overcosted at 135. I think they probably should sit about 125. Ed Thompson says, Astroth's ability should give Death Company +1 damage and hazardous. That sounds better, honestly, Ed. I think that's the sort of thing that a lot of us were hoping for. We were hoping for, like, small datasheet changes, but I guess everybody's hoping for like a Dante datasheet change. Datasheet changes really only come between editions unless something is really broken, I guess. Points drops is fine. This many points drops is also probably like this many points drops seems like a lot. All right, Ball Predators. You guys are split 50-50. I think they're fine. I don't always take one. I've played them at 125 points. I think they're okay. I think you want to take 18 Sangre Guard now, Callie says. No, I don't think you want to take 18 Sangre Guard at all, dude. I think that's I think they're purposely pointed to make you not want to take 18, and I actually don't think they're that good in 18. I don't think you're winning. Like I don't think we've seen anyone win a tournament with 18 Sangre Guard. I don't think we will see anyone win a tournament with 18 Sangre Guard, even though they went down 60 points as well, right? Like I don't have a hat here, but the proverbial saying of "I will eat my hat if that happens" feels like it's relevant. All right, Mephiston. He is down to 120 points. I feel like Mephiston was at 120 or 125. He went up 10, gets no play, and then comes right back down 10. I have a big issue with Mephiston's complete unreliability on damage, as in like his D3 damage is generally very bad. I also have a problem. I think I want to call it a problem. I think I have a problem with his melee, in that most of the time, Mephiston's going to be lone operative standing around on an objective. He will be charged, so you'll get no rerolls to hit. So you get 6 attacks. Statistically, you will miss 1, but in reality, you actually miss 2. Then you've got your strength 9, which probably means you wound on 3s. Statistically, you probably fail one of them, but in reality, you fail 2. And then all of a sudden, you only got the opponent to take like 2 save throws. Probably one of them lands on an invuln save, and then you do friggin' 2 damage. So I think he is much better in Angelic Inheritors, because I think the reroll ones to hit and wound give him a lot of value. I don't like him at all in Liberator Assault Group. And for going forward, I think my preference for playing Blood Angels is probably going to be Liberator. Like, with all the points drops that we've seen, like every unit we want to spam in small squads has gone down in points, right? So I think the way you get the most out of that now is Liberator Assault Group. Snorri says 9 Sangre Guard is where it's at. I think you're exactly right, Snorri. Like, I think we'll get to that at the end of this video. But I think if we talk about the Blood Angels lists that have been winning tournaments, and I've been covering them on the channel, they are spamming as many minimum size units as possible and trying to make those minimum size units super efficient from Liberator Assault Groups +2 to strength, right? Jack says he would take him if he was 2 damage. I would feel a lot better taking him if he was 2 damage, Jack. I think Like, if we go back to before the Codex, right? Remember when you used to attach to Assault Intercessors? It was like, you never wanted to attach Mephiston to the Assault Intercessors because the 80-point captain always ended up doing more damage, because the 80-point captain once per game does like 10 attacks, and once per game does like devastating wounds. And I think that's what you want. You know, like, if Mephiston had flat 2 damage and a couple more attacks, I'd probably be willing to give up some of these other abilities, like not falling back when the enemy units make a battle shock test. I feel like that happens once in a blue moon, right? It's kind of a worthless ability, but I mean, you'll be paying points for it. So like, I'd be willing to give up Transfix and Gaze. I know it's a cool ability from the old edition, but I think you would give that up if it was like there was a little bit more reliability in his melee, right? Like, then you would be, you know, like, look at Karn the Betrayer. Karn the Betrayer is like, what, 80 points or something? He's coming in with like 9 or 10 damage 3 attacks. I'm lying. Let me just check. Karn. I don't even know if I can spell Karn. K-H-A-R-N? Did I put an E on it? Yeah, sorry. It's got Karn the Betrayer. He's coming in, yeah, in the Berserker Warband, he's coming in with like 9 attacks at strength 9, AP 2, flat 3. So like, his maximum damage output, Karn, on the charge is like, what, 9 times 3? I should be able to do that in my head, right? 27. Mephiston, 7 times 2 realistically. And then you're probably going to roll badly. So his, you know, I think you would be willing to give that up. So yeah, Mephiston. 67% of people are going to take him. Okay. I'm surprised. I'm not taking him in Liberator Assault Group. I don't think he's too reliable. I just played against him in a tournament where my opponent was, had Mephiston. And I want to say he killed 1 Sangry Guard. He was 120 points, he was 135 points in that tournament. He did his fight first nonsense. He killed 1 Sangry Guard. Because I guess Sangry Guard, he's -1 to hit, so he was only hitting on 3s. He's -1 to wound, he's only wounding on, I guess it would have been 3s as well. So from those 6 attacks, he rolled a couple of 1s, then another couple of 1s, and then I fail 1 save, and he does 2 damage, or 3 damage, you know? I don't know if I feel Mephiston. I just don't think I feel his rules. Like, his points probably are fine. Yes, he can do some lone operative stuff. Yes, he can do some fight first stuff. Yes, he can be a difficult character to kill. If you think that's worth 120 points. I think, personally, if I need a lone op, I will take that lone operative captain all day of the week. I think he does about as much damage as Mephiston, especially into enemy infantry, because he's got devastating wounds. Owen says, I dropped him for the lone operative lieutenant for Bristol. Yeah, that's what I would do. I think the lone operative lieutenant is better, and the lone operative lieutenant provides an army-wide buff, right? 120 point, like... Yeah, he's better in Angelicars and Inheritors, right? Because he's gonna, at least he gets to re-roll those 1s, and you're gonna roll some 1s for his attacks, guaranteed both. I just don't think his reliability in Liberator Assault Group is high enough, even at 120 points. Hello, James. Are we taking 10-man Vanguard Veterans? I might take Vanguard Veterans in 5-man. Let's talk about that shortly, I guess. Dante, down 10 points. We all know what Dante does. I think that's probably fair for Dante. I actually did a video like 2 weeks ago on Dante saying I understand why he's 130 points. The reason he's 130 points probably comes down to his melee is good, right? 9 with lethals at strength 10 in Liberator Assault Group. AP 3. +1 to advance and charge, right? Like, that stuff is good. That is great. Especially in a detachment where you can get advance and charge. Yeah, I thought Dante was probably fair at 130. I hate his Battle Shock aura because, I was just at a tournament. Every time I needed it to go off, it didn't go off. The one time I don't need it, it friggin' Battle Shocks like a Eldar vehicle or something, and it's completely irrelevant. I hate his pistol as well, because it's just super short range, and his pistol, you're usually shooting his pistol at really tough targets, So usually end up just wounding on 5s. But I understand why he is one. I understand him at 130. I think he's probably he was probably fine at 130. Will we take the 10-point drop? Yeah, I mean, play Dante now, because I would say that in 6 months he's going back to 130. He was fine at 130. Dante is sick, but is he worth putting with 3-man Sanguinary Guard? I think he is worth putting with 3-man Sanguinary Guard and Liberators. 3-man Sanguinary Guard in Angelic Inheritors is also good, as long as your target priority is good. You cannot put Dante plus 3 Sanguinary Guard in Inheritors into anything above Toughness 10. Toughness 10 is kind of their breakpoint, where they will because if you use their Lance and Lethal Hit strat, you're still only wounding on 5s. That is very bad. So as long as you use Dante and 3 Sanguinary Guard in Inheritors and go after T10 or less, they are good. If you've played Knights and they've got a bunch of Toughness 12 crap and you've got to charge the Toughness 12 crap, you're going to have a bad day. I literally just did that. I've got a video coming out on it tomorrow saying I hate it, it's bad, don't I had Canis Rex with a few wounds left, and I thought Dante plus 3 plus lethal hits plus Lance could finish him off. They did not. I guess wounding on 5s, even with re-rolling 1s, is bad. I feel like 3 Sanguinary Guard just doesn't need to do what you do for the price. Yeah, well, we'll come to that. Okay, so I'm not going to do a poll on Dante. I think he's fine at 130. I think he's better at 120. Is he an auto-include? I don't think he's an auto-include, but he is a very handy include, right? And sometimes his Battle Shot can... Sometimes, once in every 10 games, his Battle Shot can actually be pretty meaningful. It's just super unreliable, so you can't... It's a weird one. You can't rely on it, but it can go off and score you 5 or 10 points sometimes. Sanguinary Guard plus Lance would wound toughness 11... Yeah, we're gonna talk about Sanguinary Guard with Lance in a minute, John, because nobody runs them with Lance, and I actually wanted to talk about that as well, because if we're talking about spamming MSU units, which I think is probably the way that you win tournaments right now with Blood Angels, because every MSU unit went down in points basically, right? So if you're spamming tons of MSU units, then maybe there is some argument to have some of those guys with the spears. Not that many people play spears. Okay. Death Company Dreadnought. This is an interesting one, because I suppose we should touch on the Death Company data sheet Black Rage ability. So this is from the balanced data slate document. Black Rage ability has been changed, right? So change the Black Rage ability on all data sheets to read Black Rage. Each time this model makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll. We already had that. While this model is not within 6 inches of one or more friendly Blood Angels character model, or 12 inches of a friendly Chaplain model, it cannot be selected to fall back, and it's over objective control characteristic is 0. So why this is interesting then is it specifically says Blood Angels characters, right? So the only characters that have Blood Angels on their data sheet, this is kind of the same as the new Space Wolves. What's MSU? Minimum size units, right? Or multiple small units is another abbreviation of MSU. So the characters that have Blood Angels on their data sheets are only from the Blood Angels book. For example, right, the Blood Angels captain on page 81 that no one's really arsed themselves with, because most people just use their old captains. There could be a reason to run this Blood Angels captain on foot now, rather than, when you put the captain with Ragefield Warrior and the Impulsor, it would now, if you have Death Company on the board, it would be better to have the one from the Blood Angels book, because if the one from the Blood Angels book is within 6 of the Death Company, then they have their OC, and then they can fall back, right? But if you had the regular captain from the Codex Space Marine, who does not have the faction keyword Blood Angels in the bottom right-hand corner of these pages, he would not give them back their OC and their fallback ability, right? So I think the reason they've done this, it basically means they want you to take characters from the Blood Angels Codex. So that would be Dante, Astaroth, Lamartes, the Death Company Captain on foot, the Death Company with Jump Pack, the Blood Angels Captain that's in this book, the Sanguiner, and Mephiston. All these characters will give any Death Company model within 6 OC, but any characters from Codex Space Marines will not. Wait, we're live. Hello, Marius. Yes, well, I think we're live. I don't know, are we live? So, this is a cool change, because, let's face it, before Death Company could only be attached by chaplains, which was fine, I guess, but also meant that they were very weak if your opponent just precisioned out some of the chaplains. And it also meant that the 2 Death Company datasheets, the Death Company Captain on foot on page 82, and the Death Company Captain with a jump pack on page 83, those units were completely unplayable, in my opinion. Now they maybe have some play because those units could attach to Death Company units, and because they are a friendly Blood Angels character within 6 inches of the Death Company, of course they would be. Then the Death Company basically have their OC. So the Death Company Jump Pack Captain, even though he doesn't have a points change, has actually kind of been buffed here, right? Because beforehand, you kind of couldn't take him. And now, maybe you can take him. And he costs the same 75 points, I think, as a jump captain, because the jump captain went down to 75 points. And, I mean, his ability is not too bad either, right? Like, he will give Death Company sustained 1. So I guess we have to decide how valuable we think sustained 1 is on Death Company. I feel like it's definitely better than Liberator Assault Group, because you get extra attacks on every model, so you get more potential 6s. But I think the big question with this guy leading the Death Company is, do they still need +1 to wound? Because if they still need +1 to wound, then the sustained hits, I think, is probably not super meaningful. Because if it's still going to fall back to the fact that, like, well, my Death Company still need +1 to wound, or they can't, you know, I can't kill Demon Princes, I can't kill tanks, I can't kill knights, I can't kill, you know, there's a lot of things that like, the reason people are not taking Death Company is because there's a lot of things that unit cannot kill. But yeah, so we're clear. If there's any questions on the Death Company stuff and everything I just explained, I think some people were not clear what this actually meant. Blood Angels character specifically means a character that says on their Codex page, faction keywords. If you look on the Codex page, bottom right hand corner of every unit, there will be faction keywords. In the Space Marine book, it's just Adeptus Astartes. In the Blood Angels book, it is Blood Angels and Adeptus Astartes, which means that those characters will have the Blood Angels keyword, which means the characters from the Blood Angels book specifically will help the Death Company. So this is a really good change. Whether or not it's going to change too much in the meta, I'm not sure, but it is a really good change. Because before, there was a bunch of characters you just flat out didn't want to play, and there was a bunch of Death Company units you just didn't want to play. And it's possibly a good change for the Lost Brethren, but I don't think it's the change Lost Brethren need to become competitive. So, this Death Company Dreadnought, which before, I guess, was 180 points. I have no idea why. He's now the exact same points cost as the Brutalis Dreadnought. The difference with this guy, like, the Brutalis Dreadnought does a bunch of mortals when he finishes a charge. The Death Company Dreadnought has the Feel No Pain of 6. Wherever it is. He has the surge move of d6 plus 2. I don't typically play units with surge moves, but I guess you wouldn't count as having made a charge if you finish with an engagement range. Okay, so and then he gets the standard Death Company reroll all hits. I feel like it will be hard to keep this guy within 6 inches of a Blood Angels character. I think that's probably my takeaway, right? Like, as good as that change is, it's not like he's attached to the character. It's not like he's going to be close to the character. It's the same points as the Brutalis. The Brutalis is going to do probably on average like 4 mortal wounds every time you charge. That probably evens out the chance to hit. So do Space Marine units not get the Blood Angels keyword? The units that get the Blood Angels keyword are all the characters in the Blood Angels book. And you can see that in the bottom right. Like, let me show you. Right, like if we went to Blood Angels and we went to like the Blood Angels captain and we go to keyword. Oh, it doesn't show you on here. God. All right, hold on. Hold on. Right. Just so we're 100% clear. This game's complicated, huh? Right, Blood Angels Captain. Right? Blood Angels Captain. Keywords. Blood Angels Astartes. He has both, right? So he is a Blood Angels character because he has Blood Angels. Space Marine Captain. Notice in the bottom right hand corner, no Blood Angels keyword. So he cannot give Death Company OC. Right? That's how it works. Perfect. That's too complicated. I mean, I guarantee you before I go to bed tonight, somebody will ask in a comment. Someone probably that's watched this stream, so, you know, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Didn't your teachers tell you that at school? Okay. So the Death Company Dreadnought being the same price as the Brutalis Dreadnought. I feel like I like the idea of him making a surge move, and I like the idea of him getting into combat and re-rolling all hits. My issue is if he makes that surge move, because he surges 8 inches in your opponent's turn, the chance of you still being within 6 inches of your Blood Angels character to have any OC feels like you will not have that, right? So if you have not got that anymore because you've just made an 8-inch surge move, then I struggle to see why I wouldn't just take a Brutalis and I'll just charge you in my turn and the Brutalis will have its OC4 and the Brutalis will do 12 mortal wounds potentially and will, I felt like this guy needed to be cheaper than the Brutalis Dreadnought. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Chat. Question. Let's do it. How many people in chat? 200 people in chat. Nice. Okay. So you guys are going to tell us what we think. We've got 200 people watching. We have 83 likes. So let's get that up towards 200. I'd appreciate it. So poll. You can only have one. And please say the truth. Please do the truth. Don't be a troll. I know it's tempting to be a troll on the internet. I think we're all trolls here, but yeah, no, in all seriousness, you can only have one. Your Death Company Dreadnought, 160 points. Feel No Pain, surge move. Your Brutalis Dreadnought, 160 points. OC all the time. Crap load of mortal wounds, but no rerolls to hit. where are we? They're now the exact same points. Lewis says it should be cheaper because of the chaplain tax. That's kind of how I see it, right? I mean, it's not just a chaplain tax now. It's like, it has been made less because you could have a Blood Angels character, but I think the fact that you're going to surge move 8 inches and then probably pile in and fight means the chances of you actually ever getting value out of that are small. Okay, so that's the Death Company Dreadnought. We'll look at the poll in a second. We will move on to Death Company Marines with jump packs, right? So these guys have been all over the place. I think at one point they were actually 115 points, and then when everybody started taking all Power Fists and Infernal Pistols, they went to 140 points. Then they came back down to 130 with the new Codex. Now they're at 120. There's still and this is a weird unit, right? In this unit, you get a penalty for fielding them in 5s, in terms of you pay 10 extra points to field them in 5s. And in this unit, you kind of pay 10 points less to field them in 10s. I think my next tactics video on the channel is going to be Death Company Marines with jump packs with a chaplain, Death Company Marines with the Death Company Captain with the jump pack, right? Like we just talked about him. We didn't look at his data sheet, sorry. The Death Company Captain now, wherever he may be, Death Company Captain with a jump pack. So he has got better because he has the faction keyword, Blood Angels, sorry, yeah? He will give the Death Company OC. He will give them sustained 1. So rerolling all hits, sustained 1, right? And I was trying to think about, like, if I'm re-rolling all hits and I've got sustained 1, right? So basically every time I roll a dice, there's a 33% chance it misses and there's a 16% chance it's a sustained, and then I re-roll over here for another 16% chance against the 33, which I think is like another 5. So basically, like, the way you need to think of this is like, rather than like sustained 1 and you not being able to figure that out in your head, I think the way to think of it is basically 20% of the time you will get 1 extra attack. Like, that's the math of like re-rolling all hits, because some of those re-rolls will also be 6s, so you get sustained. So if this squad had 10 attacks base, then you would be looking at 12 attacks, right? So like a squad, this guy leading the Death Company have 8 Power Fists, so we'd be getting like 8 plus 20% because of the sustained. They get like 4 attacks with the Eviscerator, so it would be like 5 attacks, right? Because 20%, one more. So essentially you would get, the Eviscerator actually already has chance to hit, or has already got sustained, so it doesn't really count for the Eviscerator. It's a bit of a confusing thing where so the sustained only counts for your Power Fists and your Chainswords, because the Eviscerators already have sustained. So yeah, I'm gonna do a math video in this. Death Company Captain with sustained versus like a chaplain with +1 to wound. And I think the test there probably is, can they kill an Armiger from full health? Because if those 2 units cannot kill an Armiger from full health, and Death Company now in 5s will be like what? 120. Chaplain or the Captain will put them up at 195. An Armiger is like 140, 150, right? If they cannot, from full health, I guess, charge and kill an Armiger, then I think they're still useless, right? Because if you leave an Armiger on 1 wound, it will swing back at your Death Company and murderize half the squad. Or it'll just shoot them in combat if it's the autocannon variant, anti-fly 2 up. It's gonna kill a bunch of them, right? So that is, I think, the real measuring stick for that unit. Because I think that unit before, which could kill an Armiger, or something similar as an Armiger, we're talking like a 12 wound toughness 10 model. If we can't do that without using stratagems, then that unit, to me, I feel like has no value. Because that unit's 50 points more than an Armiger It will take a lot of losses if it's left out in the open. It will probably have to be left out in the open after it charges. So I need it to charge and like statistically kill that thing that it costs 50 points more than, because if not, I'm not really sure how I can play it effectively. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe you could argue you bring a couple of tanks and you manage to shoot your armature, you manage to shoot a las cannon into the tank first. I mean, there is an argument for that. But yeah, Death Company in 5 mans are going to be interesting. So we're gonna do some maths on that in one of the upcoming videos on the channel, 100%. Question, does the Eviscerator get sustained hits too? No. Sustained hits is not a rule that stacks. If you have sustained hits 1 and you have something else that gives sustained hits 1, you still have sustained hits 1. You don't get to add those together, unfortunately. Unfortunate. Excuse me, I cannot talk. I'm getting pressure. There's 250 people watching. It's crazy. Yes, so sustained does not stack. So if we talk about Lamarta's next, we know he gives Death Company lethal hits. We know he gives Death Company -1 to wound. He was 110. You used to only really see him with the big 10-man blob. That was a little while ago. We haven't seen many people play that for a while now. That used to cost 350. It's now 330. So I guess that's like a 5% drop in points cost. It's not huge, but I mean, it's something. 5% less for 10 Death Company with Lamartas. You could start them off the board with the lethals and the amount of rerolls they get. They'll definitely do some good damage, right? Because there's a lot of attacks coming out from that squad. What is it, like 3 Power Fists, 2 Eviscerators, 25 Chainsword attacks. So 25 Chainsword attacks is maximum 25 damage. You would have 12 Power Fist attacks, that's another 24 damage. 8 sustained Eviscerators, that could be another like 15 damage, and then Lamarta's itself. So I mean, that squad could do like 70 damage for 330 points. I guess maybe there is an argument to say Lamarta's plus 10 in strategic reserve. We could be running that again. I hadn't really thought of it till literally right now. Like, is that decent? I think it is decent. I think it will see some play now. I mean, it does see a little bit of play at the moment. Could it be like, could that be our big rapid ingress threat? It's a little bit cheaper. Like Dante plus 3 Sangre Guard used to cost 390. That's 360. That's like 60 points less. That's like 20 points less than Dante plus 6 Sangre Guard. There's a lot of damage output potentially there. Yes. Sorry, Callum says, why don't Lamartas and Astrath get rerolls if they're attached to the unit? Only just tuning in. Have they changed this? Change the Black Rage. Each time this model makes a melee attack, you can reroll hits. Yes, because they wouldn't... I mean, Lamartas actually does have the Black Rage, if I'm not wrong. I think they're talking about the generic chaplain. Let me just double check. Oh, where the fuck is this tab? Come on. Why is it hiding behind? I can't get the tab to come back up. Alright, Lamartas. I'm pretty sure Lamartas has the Black Rage. Does he not? No, he's just got the Feel No Pain. That's what it was. Yeah. Okay, so neither of the leaders have the Black Rage, so they do not get the rerolls. Oh, I missed this change actually. Did it used to say something different, or what was the deal? I mean, I haven't really played Death Company since the Codex came out. Yeah. I think that's why the chaplain was good, because the generic chaplain also just did mortal wounds. Yeah, so Lamartas has a 6-up Feel No Pain, but yeah, you're right. No reroll hits on either of the characters. The Death Company captain would get reroll hits though, because he does have Black Rage. So the Death Company captain with his 6 Power Fist attacks, which is 1 higher than the chaplain usually gets on the charge. When will Death Company get a 5-up Feel No Pain? Yeah, never. I think Phoenix. Yeah, so because Black Rage says model now, you're not getting that on any character leading them unless they also have the Black Rage, which is your Death Company captains. So 195 points, I think, 5 Death Company with this Death Company captain, or with a chaplain, or Lamarte's plus 10. I mean, Lamarte's plus 10 is still pretty good with lethal hits, right? Cool. The chat's been screaming it. Sorry, I'm trying to read everything at once. So, Smithy, you've been subscribed before. What are you doing unsubscribing? My thought is that I would take the 5-man. And I would... Like, if I'm going to play Liberator Assault Group, I'm probably going to put a captain inside an Impulsor and attach him to, like, Assault Intercessors or Company Heroes and do that. So I might even do the 5-man unled. But I'll do some maths on that. I think there could be something to be said... Because the 5-man was a real problem before because you just had no OC on them all the time. You couldn't fall back. Now you could potentially help them out with the Blood Angels captain, with Dante. I'm still not 100% sure on Death Company. Right, hold on. The Brutalis Dreadnought poll is finished. It was basically 2/3 of people still think the Brutalis Dreadnought is better than the Death Company Dreadnought. Yeah, I agree. I think that the Brutalis Dreadnought is still better than the Death Company Dreadnought. I really want to like the Death Company Dreadnought, but I just think OC4 all the time when the Brutalis pips it for me. Because the amount of times that I'm not going to be around it with another character, you want the... Like, a Brutalis Dreadnought can go and take an objective by itself. It can do 12 mortal wounds, it can swipe 10 attacks. It's got a bunch of... It's got 2 twin-link multi-meltas. Like, it can take an objective by itself. The Death Company Dreadnought by himself will take the objective, but you will not score anything because you have no OC, right? I played the Brutalis Dreadnought in the last 2 games on the channel, Benno. You have not been watching. There you go, you've been called out on that. Get watching the live streams Wednesday night, 7:30, Benno. What the hell? Last 2 games, last night, the Brutalis Dreadnought did like 10 mortal wounds on the charge. I think he did tank shock for like 4, and I think I rolled another 4. Yeah, it was good. Alright, Sangre Guard. Let's talk about these guys. 3 models, 110 points. 6 models, 240 points. I think if you're playing Liberator Assault Group now, I would instantly start my list with 3 units of Sangre Guard of 3 for 330 points. Whether or not they all need lead is a completely different question. I think you could lead 1 with Dante, or we think we could lead 1 with a captain. Like, I think that would be fine. But I think unled as well, at 110 points, is absolutely fine, right? If we're playing these guys in Liberator Assault Group, we are on 15 attacks at Strength 8, AP 3 for 110 points. You know, that's a maximum of 30 damage at AP 3. Is that right? Yeah, 30 damage at AP3. And I did want to... I haven't looked at this up until right this minute. I did want to think about, like, what it might look like with the... Like, if you put some of these guys in with the spear, right? So with the spear, you would get 12 attacks at Strength 8 with +1 to wound. So that means you're wounding all big vehicles and shit on 4s minimum. Like, there's... Unless you're fighting something that is -1 to wound. Assume you're not fighting something that is -1 to wound. Then you get 12 attacks.
I have awoken.
With AP 2 damage, and it's 4 to wound everything in the game. The Brutalis is awesome, just don't get overwatched by a Forge Fiend. Yes, exactly. Would I ever do 6? Well, I've run 6 in Liberator Assault Group before, and it's maybe you can do 1 unit of 6, right? Like, maybe you can still do, like, 1 unit of 6 Sangre Guard and Dante. I mean, that unit is 30 points cheaper. And with all the other points drops you've got across the Codex, it probably means that you're not as penalised by running the 6. The difficulty with the 6 Sangre Guard is, if you start them on the table, if they can ever be seen, they will get waxed pretty hard, right? Like, people know how good Sangre Guard are, and they have no survivability, I feel like, against shooting attacks. They're only toughness 4 models. So most of the time, people are, any sort of serious shooting, they're wounding them on 3s. A lot of the time, they end up wounding them on 2s. Like, anything strength 8 and above shooting, they're wounding them on 2s. They have no survivability against shooting, unless you can roll 4-ups for days, which I apparently cannot do, right? I do wonder, though, if I was going to be doing Liberator Assault Group, which I think I am going to do in the future, would I be willing to have, like, 1 unit of 3 Sangre Guard with spears? Just so I have a +1 to wound unit that can go in and finish off something that's T9, 10, 11, 12, whatever, without using my +1 to wound strat. Because, like, I think that's my big problem with Liberator Assault Group. Like, let's say you've got Dante +6, and they're your Rapid Ingress threat. You're going to Rapid Ingress them on turn 2. You're going to try and bounce around and do a bunch of stuff, right? They are going to need your strat for +1 to wound and lethals. Like, they need it, because they are only strength 8. And if you start trying to wound enemies on 5s, you will just have a bad experience, because wounding on 5s, even with the weight of attacks, you can roll 15 dice and have no 5-ups. Or you can have, like, 2 5-ups on 15 dice. Doesn't happen. I mean, it still happens, probably, if you have 15 dice and you're on 4-ups, but happens a lot less, right? So I think you could do Dante +6, or Captain +6. I mean, the Captain +6 is a lot cheaper now. What would that be, like 315 for the Captain +6? And then have the other 2 unled. But I think either way, there could be an argument, like, the strongest tournament winning lists at the moment for Blood Angels were running as many little units as possible, charging with all of them, sort of like, not suicide charging, but just like jumping in, doing absolute much damage, and then they're a tiny little unit, they die, you don't care about them, right? So it could be an argument, like, with jump packs going down, Vanguard Veterans going down, Sangre Guard going down, like, maybe that's what we do, right? Like, maybe we could start, like, I'd be curious, and maybe do that in a few minutes on the stream. Like, if I just take a list and just go, like, 3 units of 5 Jump Intercessors, 3 units of 5 Vanguard Veterans, 3 units of 3 Sangre Guard, 3 units of Outriders, 3 units of Scouts or something, like, that's 15 units already. How many points actually is that? Like, is there still room in that list to, getting a few more characters and getting a few more, like, a couple of Vindicator tanks or something? Crispy Delicious says, MSU is life. Yeah, well, even getting some 6-man units of Blade Guard, because that's what's winning the tournaments for right now with Blood Angels, right? Like, how many... So we're going to do that before we get done with this stream. Because I haven't decided. I've been playing Ultramarines the last couple of weeks, and the 2 weeks that I've been playing... Like, both times I played Ultramarines, having 0 experience with them. I just crushed Colin... Sorry, I just crushed Andrew, and then I just crushed Miles, and both my opponents are usually tough matches for Blood Angels, and I just crushed over them with Ultramarines with, like, no practice whatsoever. So I'm like, oh my god, are Ultramarines just that much easier to play? Like, is that just a thing, right? Like, Ultramarines are just much easier to play. But I think this is probably... Do you remember in 9th edition, there was a change... and for like 6 months, Blood Angels were just like god tier. I think it was when they gave all the Space Marines permanent Armor of Contempt, and everyone just went like, oh my god, Blood Angels with Armor of Contempt on every jump unit is a million times better. So everyone just went like, oh, I'll just run, like 30 Sangre Guard, 30 Death Company, 30 Vanguard Vets, and like 2 units of Jump Assault Intercessors, and we'll just be flying everywhere, charging everything all the time, killing everything. That is probably the equivalent of what this is, right? This is the patch.
I have awoken.
Smash Captain, thanks so much for the membership. I'm gonna add everything up towards the end of the stream. This is the patch where everything is cheap for us, and probably after this patch, a bunch of stuff will go back up. So this is the patch probably where you want to be like. The last balanced data slate was March, so probably for the next 3 months, because a lot of people, well, I don't want to say a lot of people, some people were already winning tournaments with like, I think the two lists we looked at both had 18 Blade Guard, and I think one of them had 25 Jump Assault Intercessors. I think the other one might have had 20. I don't remember exactly. Are we taking the new chapter approved into account? I don't know, Foz, because I don't have the cards. Mine will arrive on Saturday, right? Like, the pre-order is up, but I don't have the cards yet. But yeah, so I think this will be the patch where you just can spam a crap load of jump guys. And I think this will be nerfed in 3 months' time. Because I think I've been saying it for a while. I don't think you can balance this with points changes, right? Like, points changes are all well and good, but I think like the underlying data sheets is the problem. They've kind of ignored the problem. They just made everything cheaper. Cool. So everybody just gets much more units, which will be fine, I guess. Like, I was just thinking the tournament was at, if I had like an extra 100 points in my list in every game, like, it would have made a big difference, right? Clint says, screw it, I'm going with 12 Blade Guard and 12 Sangre Guard. Yeah, I mean, something like, there is just going to be a list right here where you can just spam out a load of stuff, right? Yeah, Sangre Guard at 110, I think is really good for 3. Mountain Goat, thanks so much for subscribing. Sangre Guard at 6 at 240, I think you can probably fit 1 unit in. I do think that possibly the best way to play these guys, though, if we already know that the way you win tournaments is you take 18 Blade Guard, or maybe you don't have to take 18 Blade Guard if you can take 3 units of 3 Sangre Guard for 110 points, right? But I guess my point is, like, if you start the list, let's say, with 12 Blade Guard, and you put in 3 units of 3 Sangre Guard, your Sangre Guard kill all the little units, the Blade Guard go after the big monsters, Liberator Assault Group lends itself to a trading style of play, where you just want to take your cheap unit and jump it forward and kill something and trade. And when you give lots of cheap trading units like this, like Sangre Guard at like 130 felt very expensive to die. I feel like at 110 they are a good trading unit, because they will do a lot of damage for 110 points. Like we just said, 30 damage potentially at strength 8 AP 3. Like, that is good for 110 points. Like, I think it is very good. Yeah, we're going to talk about Vanguard Vets. We're going to get to the Space Marine points drops in a minute. Thank you so much for that was an Amazon Prime gifted thing, Mountain Goat. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, Sanguinary Priest. So this is an interesting pick, right? Because everybody's saying he was overcosted before. He is slightly cheaper than a captain now. I mean, there's maybe some sort of edge case where you attach him to Stern Guard, maybe. I mean, you could attach him to Assault Intercessors, give them AP 2. I think my question, though, is if he could join Blade Guard, he would be very good. I think it doesn't make a lot of sense that he can't join Blade Guard. Who does he even attach to again? It's like Stern Guard, Assault Intercessors. Not much else, right? Well, nothing else that actually makes sense for like a melee buff, right? Yeah, I mean, you're not going to attach them to Desolations, Devastators, Hellblasters, Infernus, I mean, maybe you could attach them to Intercessors. Definitely not attaching them to Tactical Squads. So it's really Assault Intercessors or Stern Guards. Yeah, I mean, maybe you can attach him. I thought he was really good when he had the jump pack. I think on foot, I really don't care for him. I think the units on foot that we want to be playing are probably Blade Guard. And maybe one unit of Assault Intercessors. With a captain. You know, somebody said he's good with the Rage Captain. I mean, the reason you take the Rage Captain is for the devastating wounds. I don't think one extra AP on his Power Fist is all that meaningful. Here's the thing. Usually when you hit stuff with AP 2 in melee, they're on an invuln save anyway. It's very infrequently when you can punch something at AP 2 where you go, damn, I really needed AP 3 in melee, right? I mean, maybe Land Raiders or maybe Space Marine vehicles, but like I feel like it's infrequent enough that I don't feel like I would pay the 75 points for the Priest. Yeah, I mean, the way that people run the Priest before was when you attached them to big units of Vanguard veterans, which I thought was kind of cool. Because Vanguard veterans, I would say their biggest weakness is their 1 AP. Sanguinary Priest, are we taking him? Like, I'm just thinking, like, if I was going to start Liberator Assault Group, right now, making a new Liberator Assault Group list, like, what units am I interested in, right? I'm interested in Jump Intercessors. I'm interested in Blade Guard. I'm interested in Vanguard Veterans. I'm interested in Sanguinary Guard. I'm maybe interested in 5-man. Death Company. I'm maybe interested in Outriders. I'm maybe interested in Scouts, right? I don't think the Sanguinary Priest attaches to any of that. So I struggle to see where he would be meaningful. And like we talk about that captain that can once per game do 8 attacks with his Devastating Wound Power Fist. He only costs 5 points more. I feel like that Devastating Wound Power Fist is better than anything that Sanguinary Priest can give me, right? Like a 5-up Feel No Pain on 5 Assault Intercessors. I don't even... Just imagine we had a strat to get a 5-up Feel No Pain on 5 Assault Intercessors. I don't think you'd pay a CP for that, because you're like, oh, it's Assault Intercessors. They're going to die anyway. Why would I care about 5-up Feel No Pain? This is literally asking me to pay 75 points for a 5-up Feel No Pain. I mean, statistically, let's say your Assault Intercessors fail 10 1 damage saves. A 5-up Feel No Pain saves you 3 wounds. So basically you're telling me that Sanguinary Priest, we're paying 75 points to save 3 wounds, and then on the one time a game they get to attack back, they get 1 more point of AP. I really think he's still very meaningless. I took him in a drop pod with 8 Hellblasters and a Lieutenant. So you actually killed 2 of your own Hellblasters to take the Sanguinary Priest in the drop pod. You are a brave man, because that sounds batshit crazy, dude. I absolutely would think a Hellblaster is a 20 point, what is it, a 25 point Hellblaster? They're less than that, they went down in points. Like a 22 point Hellblaster is more valuable than that 75 point Sanguinary Priest. Maybe on Stern Guard. Yeah, I think 10 Stern Guard is the one squad that Sanguinary Priest can attach to. But would I attach him to 10 Stern Guard and Blood Angels? Probably not. I don't know if I feel like it's like bolters with rerolls to wound. Yeah, you know, it maybe does 5 mortal wounds. You are crazy. Yeah, I agree. You are crazy. Save the 75 points, man. That's like a whole other unit. Like, get this guy fuck out of there. I still haven't bought the new Primaris model for this. Like, if they keep the rules crap, then I'm just happy that I haven't spent $20 to buy this model, or $25 or whatever it costs. Okay, so In sum up then, oh, let's see what chat said. Chat said 75% of chat said no to the Sangari Priest. Okay, that's what we thought. So it was Astaroth. People were sort of split. Death, Ball Predator people were split down the middle. Mephiston. Quite a lot of people like Mephiston at 120. Dante is better. People hated the Death Company Dreadnought. People hate the Sangari Priest. I think people were taking Sangari Guard anyway at 130, so we were taking more of them now. Some people are going to go mental and run 18 of them. If you do run 18 Sangari Guard, let me know how you get on. I feel like you'll probably have a bad game, but I'm sure some people in chat are going to do that. You're a braver person than me to run 18. Someone's going to do it. Do you know what? Ironically, someone will probably win a tournament with it. Lamartis plus 10 looks a lot more interesting. Death Company, Jump Marines. We need to do some maths on these guys. Okay, let's look at Codex Space Marines. Because they got some points drops. That's Chaos Space Marines. We don't care about them. Finally, Aggressors. Down 20 points for 3. I like this change a lot. Does it mean I'm taking Aggressors? They're hard to fit in transports. They're somewhat slow. How many attacks do Aggressors get in Liberator Assault Group again? Because they do have Strength 10, Twin-Linked Power Fists. Oh, it's just 3 attacks. So 12 attacks, Strength 10, AP2, 2, Twin-Linked. I mean, at 100 points, I think you can take Aggressors now. I think they were grossly overcosted at 120. I don't think the 6-man necessarily needs to be paying an extra 20-point tax on the 6-man. The 20-point tax on the 6-man is probably from it's like probably like Gladius Task Force or some nonsense. There's probably another detachment that's using them. So Aggressors, 100 points for 3. Are we going to take Aggressors at 100 points for 3? I think you could use 3. Advance them up towards the middle of the board. You've got Advance and Charge. Strength 10 with Twin Linked is not too bad. Aggressors you only play because they look nice. I think 100 points they are sort of fieldable. I think they were played before when they were 110, right? Learn, Train, Play says I'd consider 3 for 100 points. Yeah, I feel like if I had 100 points left at the end of a list, and I just felt like I was light on anti-tank, could I just put 3 Aggressors onto the board? You know, if you Oath of Moment the target, you're rerolling all hits and wounds. Definitely do some damage to a vehicle, right? They're easier to transport with Blade Guard. Yeah, I mean, if you've got like a repulsor or something and you're putting like 6 Blade Guard and a character inside, then there is room in that repulsor as well for 3 Aggressors, right? Aggressors take up 2 spaces, so if you're running a Redeemer, which is a transport capacity of 16, you could have 6 Blade Guard inside, plus a character, plus 3 Blade Guard, and then 3 Aggressors. That's quite a lot inside a transport, right? I'm right, haven't I? So like 9 Blade Guard. I mean, I just played in a tournament against a Blood Angels player that had a Redeemer, right? And you would be able to charge after disembarking. Oh, sorry, the Redeemer is 14. What one is the 16? It must be the Crusader. Sorry. So you could have 3 Aggressors, 6 Blade Guard, and a character. Yeah, that would fit. That would fit. Because that would be 7 plus 6. I can math up to 14. Yeah, I can do that. And the repulsor is 14 now as well. I didn't realise that until last night, because the codex still says 12, but it's actually 14. Right? So if you're going to bring like a cheap repulsor, I've played repulsors a bunch of times this edition. They're not the worst. Protect units. Can they one round an armiger, says Alex. Probably not, because they're only 12 attacks. So 12 attacks, they would end up with something like 8 hits. They would wound the armiger on 4s, rerolling everything. So it would be like 6 AP2. Statistically, they do 8 damage to an armiger. So so like I said, they're not going to finish something, but they will do some significant damage to armor. So same thing goes, like they charge an enemy ballistic dreadnought, they're doing 8 damage to it. It's not the worst. Next up, the captain of the jump pack, he went down 10 points. So I just think that this is a buff for... Oh, people still don't like aggressors, apparently. What was that? 70%. No, 64% of people. So 2/3 of people still don't like aggressors at 100 points. Yeah. Maybe they just don't have enough attacks. Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, maybe lack of attacks is the problem. Okay, captain of the jump pack. This is a good buff for us, right? We want to attach captains to Sangre Guard, potentially. We want to attach captains to potentially Vanguard veterans, because I guess if Vanguard veterans are cheap now, and we're going to get to those. Vanguard veterans are strength 5. Liberator Assault Group puts them to strength 7. Captain leading them puts them to strength 8. So Vanguard veterans become strength 8 in Blood Angels on the charge. Movement 5 is awful. I mean, they do get advance and charge in Liberator Assault Group. Like, that is fine. And like toughness 6 Gravis is useful, right? I mean, I just played Centurions this week. They move 4. I mean, they do hit quite a bit harder, but they are 50 points more expensive than aggressors. I think it's probably 50 points well spent though, because Centurions are just disgusting. So this is a good change. We were already running captains. A bunch of lists were running 2. Some people are even running 3. So I think this just saves us 20 points. It's totally fine. I think captains were good and seen commonly before. I think they are good and will be seen commonly now. Hello, Vintage Flanker. Hello, Nico. How you guys doing? Heavy Intercessor is an interesting change, actually. These guys got 2 damage rifles and went up in points quite a lot. And they're now back to 100 points. So Heavy Intercessors, that is 15 wounds at toughness 6. Potentially with +1 to save if you're standing on an objective. And these guys can do quite a bit of damage at range, right? Strength 5. And a bunch of 2 damage shots. Assault, heavy, 30 inches. So the squad puts out 10 shots at strength 5 -1, 2. So it's basically like 10 heavy bolter shots. 8 heavy bolter shots and then the actual heavy bolter. So basically you get 11 heavy bolter shots, 3 of which have sustained 1, 30-inch range, 100 points, everyone's wearing Gravis. I think that's decent, man. Like, how many points were they before they increased them last time? Because all their guns used to do 1 damage, and they made them 2. So they literally doubled up their damage. I kind of think the Heavy Intercessors for 100 points is a good change. I mean, it's not something we see too often in Blood Angels. I've actually ran them in tournaments with Blood Angels. I was running them when you had the Librarian Dreadnought. You know what I was doing with them? I was just teleporting them onto side field objectives. And then just letting them stand there on the side field objectives in cover. -1 because they're in cover. +1 because they have... because the Heavy Intercessor's rule is if you're standing on an objective, you get to add 1 to your armor save. So I mean... If you're standing an objective, adding 1 to your armor save and getting cover, they're pretty durable at T6, 3 wounds per model. So yeah, I think they're quite playable at 100. I'm not sure how much we will see them, but I think they are very decent. In Stormlance detachment as well, I think they'll be really decent. If you're not familiar with Stormlance, they have a stratagem that makes all assault weapons sustained. So they could just give these guys, like, all their weapons could just be sustained. Hellblasters down 5 points and 10 points. I guess if you play Hellblasters, it's a good change. Hellblasters are a very damaging unit. I guess if you're putting them inside Impulsor or something, it is better. I don't think Blood Angels typically run too many Hellblasters. But I mean, I guess it's more viable now. Khalgar went down 10 points. If you haven't been following, Khalgar used to give you a command point every turn, which you could stack with Gilliman's command point shenanigans. So Khalgar just went down 10 points. I think it's fine. Ultramarines were basically getting 15 extra command points over the battle. Now they only get 5. So it's just a balance change. He went down 10 points. I think that's fine. Gilliman went down because of the thing I just talked about, how they were getting crap load of extra command points. And then last but not least, Vanguard Veterans went from 111 to 95. So basically we saw no one running them at 110. Sorry, I think I said 111. And I guess we definitely saw no one running them at 220 for 10. I think there's a very real chance that it could be viable to run 5, like, if we think of Liberator Assault Group and we think of the strength of Liberator Assault Group as those little 5-man units that can trade super efficiently, right? Then I think you could start a list with 2 squads of 5 jump pack Vanguard Veterans. You could arm them with Storm Shields if you want the survivability. You could arm them with Infernal Pistols if you want killy. They are one of the few units that can still take 5 Infernal Pistols. Or they are, I think they are the only unit, in fact, that can still take 5 Infernal Pistols. So I guess, like, if the enemy had a transport, 5 Vanguard Veterans could jump towards the transport. They could throw a grenade. They could hit it with their 5 Infernal Pistols, which potentially opens it, and then they can charge what's inside, right? I mean, you could take Grav Pistols, anti-vehicle 2-up. I suppose, like, if you're with... there could be an argument that these guys should actually have 5 Grav Pistols. They get lethal hits as well on the charge. In melee, they get 5 attacks. So it's 25, strength 5, AP 1-1, lethals, or strength 7, I guess if you make a charge for Liberator Assault Group, right? Callum says, Desolators with an Apothecary and Inheritors, sit them on top of the home ruin on UKTC for plunging fire, clear chaff without committing jump back intercessors and trading them out. Yeah, I know some people are using Desolation Marines to just sit in Inheritors and be untargetable. I mean, it's a quirky tactic. I get it. It can work. Obviously, it is working for some people, right? Stephen says Vanguard Veterans are going to get a new model by autumn. I don't know if they're getting a new model by autumn. The rumor I heard was that they're going to get a new model for like the 11th edition box set. I think the rumor is 11th edition is going to be Space Marines versus Orcs. That will be next summer. That will be when we get Vanguard Veterans. Have we gone over Death Company? We have gone over Death Company. I think I need to make a tactics video and work out the math. I think for me, with the Death Company, it boils down to, can they kill like a toughness 10 tank or monster with like 12 wounds, 11 or 12 wounds in 1 round of combat? Like that will swing it for me, because if they can't do that, then you could reduce their points all you want. But if they can't do the thing that I need them to do on the tabletop, then I'm not taking them, right? So I think I need to do the math, see if there's a combination there Be it with Chaplain, be it with Lamartez, be it with the new Death Company captain that we haven't really seen. If there's a combination there that can kill an Armiger without, I think it comes down to without using Red Rampage, right? Because the thing that I feel about Blood Angels is that you need +1 to wound in more than one place on the battlefield. Do you think the Priest and Captain would make the math work? Well, Priest and Captain can't charge the Death Company, so I think that's a bit of a moot point, right? What serves the function in lag if Death Company does not? Yeah, I mean, well, I think the thing that people have been using is 18 Blade Guard, right? People have just been spamming 3 units of Blade Guard. That's a crap load of Strength 7 attacks. And I'm pretty sure, what do Blade Guard get? They get 30 attacks in lag. You reroll 1s to hit because that's the thing that the Blade Guard get to do. So you get your 30 attacks, rerolling 1s to hit. That's statistically like 77%. So you're making like 23, give or take. You're making 23 hits at AP22. You probably still do need +1 to wound, so you attach a Chaplain maybe to one squad. You know, like, you could do that, right? You attach a Chaplain to one squad, you're ready to pay the stratagem on the other squad. Now you've got 2 squads, each making 23 hits, each getting AP22, all wounding on 4s. That's a lot of damage. They can throw grenades. The Chaplain can attack as well. I feel like there's something else I was going to say there. Oh, well, I mean, they shoot incidental with their pistols. I mean, people have been using 18 Blade Guard. I think I've looked at... I was going to say, there's this website, like the 40k event tracker website. And you can see, recently, like, you just go onto this website. I put the link in chat, if anyone wants to see it. And you can see, like, over the last few weeks, like, this is a Blood Angels list that went 4-1. And you can click on it and you can just see the list, right? So the highest list from this weekend's events, yeah, like last weekend's events, you know, 10 Assault Intercessors, 10 Assault Intercessors, 5 Assault Intercessors, 6 Blade Guard, 6 Blade Guard, Reaper, Incursors, Infiltrators, Invader, Scouts, Vindicator. So it's basically 2 Vindicators, 2 6 Blade Guards, 25 Jump Intercessors, then a bunch of other stuff. But I mean, like, if we go back and find like the last 5-0 Blood Angels list, you know, like that's 4-1 is using 18 Blade Guard. Sorry, 12 Blade Guard. The last 5-0 one, I'm pretty sure I looked at this list and it's the same. It's like Jump Intercessors 10, Jump Intercessors 5, Jump Intercessors 5, Ballistus, Blade Guard 6, Blade Guard 6, Blade Guard 6. So there you go, right? Like, it's not rocket science what is doing well in Liberator Assault Group. What is doing well in Liberator Assault Group is, like, double Vindicator or triple Ballistus, crap loads of Blade Guard, crap loads of Jump Intercessors. Like, the other stuff is, like, some Scouts for scoring, some Infiltrators for holding your backfield, maybe some other, you know, Incursors give your Ballistus Dreadnoughts +1 to hit, Unit Outriders, you know, whatever, right? But that is what has been strong. That is what people have been seeing. So, like, I think this was my point, was like, if you're going to start a Blood Angels list based on all these new points costs, and just before we talk about that, right, there's no other Blood Angels change. I did notice they added this to the tournament companion. In case anyone was wondering, they do now specify the base sizes for all the models. In case, I guess this is just to prevent any confusion with firstborn models. Like, if you have the old models, these are the size bases. So this was new. I hadn't seen this before. Maybe it existed and I just never looked at it. But I think apart from this, that is the overall changes. So, like, for example, my Angelic Inheritors list from this weekend past, I was running 2 Jump Captains, so that made my list 20 points cheaper. I was running Dante, 30 points cheaper. I was running 3 units of Sanguinary Guard, 90 points cheaper. So like my tournament list that I was just at, there's a 4-1 list with 2 tactical squads. Well, I don't want to say his opponents were probably so flabbergasted that they were playing against tactical squads, they underestimated him, because nobody's running tactical squads. Yeah, so I think based on what we're talking about here, we're like, all right, we know the best Blood Angels, maybe not the best, but the lists that are winning tournaments. It's like somewhere between 20 and 25 Jump Intercessors, somewhere between 12 and 18 Blade Guard. So like, if you just want to start a Blood Angels list, would that be where you start, right? So like 12 blade, like 6 Blade Guard, 6 Blade Guard, right? They're 160 points now, and I think for argument's sake, just say you do like 5 Jump Assault Intercessors, and they are 90 points, right? And you could just start your list with something like that, right? Like, we know that's going to be very strong. You do 3 Sangre Guard for 110 points, and we know that's going to be strong, so we're just going to spam those out as well. You could argue Vanguard Veterans now, 5 Vanguard Veterans. They're going to be pretty strong. We could put in 2 of those. What else do we like? Well, we probably want Dante now. He's cheaper, right? There is also an argument that Dante might be better leading a 6. We could come back to that. We maybe need something for our home field objective, right? You could say Infiltrators, or those heavy intercessors, or regular intercessors, or uncursors, whatever you want to do. Let's just say that's like 100 points. And then the lists that seem to be doing well are bringing fire support, right? So you could do your 2 Vindicator tanks, which some people are doing, or you could do something like triple ballistas, so you've got like 400 points on tanks. So I guess the question is, like, how many points is that now, right? Like, the 2 squads of Blade Guard, the 3 squads of Jump Intercessors, the 3 squads of Sangre Guard, the 2 squads of Vanguard Vets, Dante, the home field objective, the tanks. I suppose that's not right. I don't know how I got that there. 500, 120, 270, 320. So then you're left with like 270 points. Like you could do. You probably want scouts / lone operatives for like 150. And then you got 100 points to play with, right? Bear in mind, this is not precisely accurate. You could save some points by doing Outriders. You could save some points by doing... yeah, I mean, you could also maybe fit in that 5-man Death Company. You've got Dante on the board. I think the interesting thing was before is, right, like, nobody was running 5-man Death Company unled. Now I think you could do 5 Death Company unled, right? Jump, Death Company, and they're unled. And the reason I think you could do them now unled is because they're cheap, or cheaper, but they're basically like your free squad, right? Like, if you imagine your list cost this much before. Everything went, the Sangre Guard all come down 10 points. The Vanguard Vets all come down 15 points. Dante comes down in points. Because all these things come down in points, then you've got basically 1 more unit. You could do Impulsors, yeah. I mean, I'm just talking about, like... I personally like Impulsors. I think that if I'm going to do Liberator Assault Group, I'm probably going to do some Impulsors. If you do the Impulsor thing, you can put... you can put characters... attachments in here, but like if you just want to be MSU absolute spam, then you have a lot of options now. Is it worth adding a captain to Sangre Guard? In Liberator Assault Group, is it? Because there's not a lot of difference in breakpoint between Strength 8 and Strength 9, honestly. I mean, it might be worth adding one to get the free stratagem or the free rapid ingress. I personally also think that Death Company, the 5-man Death Company, I think is still a worse unit than the 3-man Sangre Guard, right? Like, I thought that if... I personally, before this balanced data slate, I felt like... Because these two units were the same points, right? Like, 3 Sangre Guard... Yeah, so this is interesting, right? Like, this is what frustrates me about the data slate sometimes. 3 Sangre Guard and 5 Death Company were both at 130 points, right? Like, that's what those two units cost. They cost the same number of points. Literally nobody was running 5 Death Company. Everybody was running 3 Sangre Guard. So what does that tell me? It tells me beforehand, everybody felt the Sangre Guard were stronger. And the reason the Sangre Guard are stronger is because they've got 3 wounds per model, and they have a 4-up invuln. The Death Company... so basically, the Death Company just die when anyone looks at them because they don't have any invuln. And the Sangre Guard also -1 to hit, -1 to wound in combat, which makes them a hell of a lot tougher as well. So it's like... Nobody was picking the Death Company when they are the same points. So by dropping Sangre Guard 20 and only dropping Death Company 10, do not just compound the problem, right? Like before, you had to run the 3 units of Sangre Guard and ignore the Death Company. Now, you definitely have to run the 3 units of Sangre Guard, unless maybe the situation is when you're running 10 Death Company, they are 10 points cheaper than the 6 Sangre Guard. But the way I see that is that 10 Death Company are just going to get blown off the table with Blast. If you come up against those Forge Fiends, Strength 10, AP 3, 3 damage, one Forge Fiend will probably kill your entire squad of Death Company because you will only save on 6s. And they'll get Blast from all 3 weapons. So they'll just... like, that whole unit of Death Company is a liability if you play World Eaters. So I think this I think this unit is flawed, and I think it cannot be fixed with points. And the reason it worked before was it was an absolute glass cannon, and you traded off the fact that it was a giant glass cannon. You know, because it worked when it was more expensive, right? They were 140 for 5. When they were glass cannon. And what I mean by glass cannon was every guy had an infernal pistol, every guy had a power fist. They killed the shit out of anything they went into, but yeah, they die like they're wearing paper armor. And I think that's still the problem with them, is the toughness 4, 3-up save, and they're left in the open. Like in previous editions, there was a lot of like shenanigans you could do with movement. You know, like you used to always be able to consolidate. You could consolidate into buildings. You could consolidate out of line of sight. I think Blood Angels even last edition had a 6-inch consolidation strat. So you could make it really difficult. Like after you kill a unit, because they will kill a unit, because they're glass cannon, they could really hide themselves, or you could really do a lot with them. But very often in 10th edition, you kill a unit, you're left sitting duck in the open. That unit just doesn't survive against any sort of meaningful shooting, right? The Death Company cannon was 400 points. When I was running them, they were 140 for 5 and the 75 for the chaplain. So I think they were 215. And what you got for 215 was like 25 power fists with +1 to wound and like 5 infernal pistols. You can easily fit 9 dreads into a 2,000 point list. Why would you want to? Space Marine dreads. I was hoping Redemptor Dreadnoughts would get a points drop, because I think they're I played them this week. I think they're last week. I think they're horribly overcosted. They're not worth 205 points. 205 points for a toughness 10 vehicle with no invuln save is ludicrous. If they change Black Rage to +1 AP, +1 damage instead of reroll hits, I think we're cooking, says Rick. Yeah, I think Wolfen are great. I don't know if you guys saw the Space Wolf video I made, but I think Wolfen are a great unit, right? Wolfen have like anti-vehicle, anti-monster 3-up, right? Like, take away the reroll hits Death Company have, take away some of the number of attacks they have, and just give them like anti-monster, anti-vehicle, because is that not what they're supposed to be? Like raging lunatics just swinging around wildly, killing everything? Like, I thought Woven looked great. Oh, and Woven have flat 3 damage as well on all their attacks. I mean, reroll hits is so strong though. Yeah, well, reroll hits are strong until you fight toughness 10 stuff. And Death Company, I guess, are generally going to be pretty, like... Blood Angels have a problem. I think, like, Knights are a good... Like, Knights are... I know Knights are a stat checklist, but Knights are, like, guard tanks, or any sort of armor list, or any sort of list with a... Like, Death Guard. Death Guard is a good example right now. Death Guard are honestly such a hard matchup if they're running those vehicle lists, where it's like, alright, everything, literally everything in the Death Guard list is T9 or above. We can't do the damage against that. We can do the damage in one place on the board because we've got one strat that will give us Lance. Everywhere else on the board, we're wounding on 5s. If you are playing an enemy where all of your charges are wounding on 5s, doesn't matter how many rerolls you've got to hit. Wounding on 5s is literally cutting your damage into a third, right? Because it's a third of the chance. You should have a look at the Wolves points briefly. I will, but I'm actually, like, I can only speak for so long. I've been live for like 2 hours. I feel like my voice is starting to go already. Excuse me. So I guess maybe I was speaking too much at work today or whatever. So I'm only be here for like 10 more minutes. That's why you run Dreadnoughts. Well, that's why some of the tournament lists are definitely running 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, right? But then Ballistus Dreadnoughts still have a problem against Death Guard because Death Guard's shooting at the moment is very, very good and they can probably kill a couple of Ballistus Dreadnoughts a turn, right? Terminators take down Knights? Not effectively, I wouldn't have thought. I mean, the Terminator squad, what is it, like 20 attacks? If everyone's got a Power Fist? Hitting on 3s gives you like 13 hits. Wounding on 4s gives you like 6 wounds. They save on 5s. So like an average squad of Terminators is only going to do like 6 damage to a toughness 10 Knight. If you go into a toughness 12 Knight, you've got a big problem, right? Like statistically, you probably only do like 4 damage to it or something horrific. I feel like Angelic Inheritors is the play now. You drop your chaff units for the 3x3 Sanguinary Guard with Captain, and you fill the points with big blasty vehicles. Yeah, I think you're probably right, Rick. I think the thing that elevates Angelic Inheritors is the Plasma Inceptors. So I think if you want to win a tournament with Angelic Inheritors, I would literally start with 2 Vindicator tanks and 6 Plasma Inceptors. If you're not going to do that, I think you're going to have you aren't going to win a tournament, right? Like, I think maybe there's another play there that I'm not seeing, but literally every tournament that anyone has won using Angelic Inheritors, because I've looked at a bunch of the lists, they're all double Vindicator, 6 Plasma Inceptors, right? And then 3 units of 3 Sanguinary Guard, 2 Captains, and Dante, right? They're all the same, right? All Knights are -1 toughness in their upcoming codexes. Well, that will be amazing, because they're obnoxious at the moment. They're they feel very difficult, very stat checky for Blood Angels at the moment. Rick says I want to use Aggressors so bad. Well, if they are all -1 toughness, then Aggressors suddenly become very good against Knights. Because for 100 points, you'd be wounding on 3s, twin-linked. So that would be statistically like a lot of successful wounds into Knights, wouldn't it? But yeah, so I think if you like Impulsors, you could definitely rotate in some Impulsors. But if you don't care for Impulsors, and you just want to go like spam as many units on the board as possible, 2, 5, 8, 11, 12, let's say 3 tanks, 12, maybe 14, 15, 16. You can probably do like 17 units now. 17 units, including 12 Blade Guard and 15 Jump Intercessors, and some Vanguard Vets, and some Sangre Guard. Like, there could be a very strong argument for, like, this. If there was ever a patch to spam lots and lots of jump units or lots and lots of small, tradable Liberator Assault Group type lists, this is probably it, right? Imperial agents didn't get cheaper. That's criminal, Highland Phoenix, because they literally have a 20% win rate. I prefer the Gladiator Lancer than the Vindicator. More range and a lot more damage. Rerolling hits, wound, and damage. Yeah, I mean, I get that, but the Vindicator is just much more versatile, right? Vindicators kill everything. Lancers kill, like if Lancers are shooting Terminators, you kill one Terminator. Whereas a Vindicator tank could literally kill 10 Terminators, right? Especially in the fact that you get sustained hits on, like, upwards of 10 shots in Angelic Inheritors. Anything can be fixed with points. Just got to be brave with the cuts. I don't know if I agree with that. I think for years now, Games Workshop have been trying to balance Sangre Guard, and we're always too cheap or too expensive. Same with Death Company. They're always too cheap or they're too expensive, right? It'll be interesting. Everybody's Blood Angels list just went down 100 points, give or take, I guess, if you're using the common units. So just imagine all the games you've played recently if you have another whole unit of guys on the table and what that might look like, right? 5 Death Company with jump backs for 95 points, we'd see them on the table. Yeah, but then would you not just get them spammed everywhere, right? Like, I think sometimes points just means that you just get spam. I prefer Lancer because there's always that time often in my case where D6 shots roll a 1 and the damage rolls are 1, 2. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Vindicator tanks either, honestly. They're so unreliable. I have a video coming out tomorrow actually about how I did at the tournament and how unreliable Vindicators are, and I think that's why if I'm going to be playing Blood Angels in the future, as much as I did enjoy playing, like I did play Angelic Inheritors pretty much exclusively since Christmas, so like 4 or 5 months, I don't think I want to keep playing them. Because you were a bit at the mercy of those Vindicator tanks. They either pop off and just obliterate your opponent, or they do nothing. Soulless Doom says, points won't save the Death Company with bolt rifles. How very dare you? Death Company with bolt rifles. What a unit. Are these the worst unit in 40k at the moment? Here's the question. Has anyone ever seen these on, like, did anyone buy these? Like, they still don't sell Games Workshop. Do they actually even sell Death Company on Games Workshop yet? Because last time I looked, and it was like 6 months ago, they don't even sell Death Company. No, you still can't buy Death Company. It's like they don't exist. I think they've not existed on this website for like 6 months at this point. I think that maybe they've realized that they just don't work. They need to rethink them. I think they could fix them though. That's the thing. I think if you give them the same rules as Woven, like remove a bunch of their attacks, remove the rerolls to hit, give them anti-vehicle, anti-monster 4-up, so they're like a dedicated unit to killing vehicles or monsters, because that's what we need. Like, Sangre Guard are supposed to be, in my opinion, they should be killing enemy elites, right? They should be fighting Custode Wardens. They should be fighting Blightlord Terminators. They shouldn't be our unit that kills vehicles. Like, that should be Death Company with, like I said, anti-vehicle, anti-monster 4-up. I mean, that's why everybody ran them with 5 Power Hammers, right? Thunder Hammers, excuse me. Mephiston should be 3 damage all day long. Yeah, I actually think I've... Do you know what? I think I've only played Mephiston like twice in 10th edition. I really don't like him. Some... Mr. Concrete Science says, I love Death Company with bolt rifles. Put an Inquisitor with them is janky in Lost Brethren. Okay. Somebody loved Death Company. I can't believe it. I didn't think anyone bought Death Company with bolt rifles. Hello, Mark. How you doing? Give them all Eviscerators would be a huge step. I think Eviscerators are a weird weapon, though, because their strength is such a bad breakpoint, right? Like, Strength 7 is not great. Strength 9 is still not great. Maybe if Knights all drop 1 toughness, the Eviscerator becomes a little bit less bad, but I think the Eviscerator is a really awkward strength value, right? Like, if it was a Strength 10 Eviscerator, like, I don't know why they just didn't make it the same as the Power Fist. Maybe they just didn't want to copy the Power Fist, but yeah, the Eviscerator is at such an awkward strength value. Now that Vanguard Veterans are a bit cheaper, are they worth running? Yes, I think they would 100% be worth running at 95 points. I think they're pretty comparable. They're just jump assault intercessors, but potentially durable, right? Because 5 storm shields gives them some durability. Toughness 9 lets Sangre Guard with the Captain clear the mini knights. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be good. But I still do think that historically, like if we go back across multiple editions, it was the Death Company that you used to kill the monsters, right? It was always Death Company with Thunderhammers, right? Like that was the way you did it. For a while there, I think you would run 10 Death Company, 4 guys with Thunderhammers or something. And then when they made it that you could have like, I think you could have 5 Thunderhammers in the small 5-man squad. That was the way that you know, when Blood Angels didn't take any tanks, because there was a period where Blood Angels just did all melee. The way that you dealt with tanks was Death Company, right? And somewhat Infernal Pistols, I suppose, from the Sangre Guard, where you could take a bunch of Infernal Pistols and Sangre Guard. But yeah, I mean, I think that Jump Intercessors are a great unit in Liberator Assault Group, and I think Vanguard Veterans will be just as great a unit, because probably, in my opinion, the best way to run Jump Assault Intercessors is 3 units of 5, because it's just like a 90-point unit that can jump in and can kill something, and then if they die, you don't even care about them. I think Vanguard Veterans just do the exact same thing now, right? Like, but maybe they survive, right? Because they've got a bunch of 4-up invuln saves, so maybe they can survive, whereas the Jump Intercessors typically probably don't survive. So, yeah, 100%. I think you can include some Vanguard Veterans going forward. So I think we've covered everything. I've got a new tactics video coming out tomorrow. I'm probably going to make a video about Death Company for next week. Talking about like Death Company dealing with, like, can they deal with threats? Is that new Death Company captain actually worth it? Because obviously we've not been fielding him. I don't think I've looked at a single list with that Death Company, with either of those Death Company captains in the lists. So good that they finally, you know, like it's nice that they've acknowledged that no one was playing the Death Company captain. Blood Angels are still better than Black Templars, says Tim. Well, we all knew that, Tim. We've known that since day one. I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on the Black Templars, but I mean, you know, we all know which successor chapter they're from, right? So we leave that there. Terminator Chain Fists need to be redone. Assault Terminators still need redone as well. I mean, overall, my opinion of the data, the points is probably like it's hard to be upset with these points because Blood Angels got a lot. Codex Space Marines probably needed a little bit more. There's definitely a bunch of units in Codex Space Marines that I think are very bad and very overcosted. I think Desolation Marines are still too expensive. I think this Dreadnought, Firstborn Dreadnought, is still way too expensive. I think the Crusader probably still has problems. I think there's a couple of Gladiator tanks. The which one is it? The middle one, the Valiant, that literally nobody plays. The Assault Terminators, I think, are still really bad. Like, really, really bad. Like, that is a terrible unit you should never field. Personally, someone did do well, apparently, with Tactical Squads. I think it's still Tactical Squads are like 20 points too expensive. So, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that didn't get changed, I guess. I think this Apothecary for 70 points is ludicrous as well, honestly. He's not... He was good when he could have the enhancement. Now I just don't think he's good at all. So, yeah, there's Chaos Chainfists or Anti-Vehicle 3-up. I think ours are Anti-Vehicle 3-up as well. It's just the fact that they only hit on 4s is the problem, and they don't really have any weight of attacks, right? Fire Strike turrets, yeah, sure. Yeah, Redemptors, yeah, I mentioned Redemptors earlier. They're way too expensive at 205 points. Okay, thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you learned something, or hope I explained something to you. I am going to take off. I've got a tactics video coming out tomorrow. I'm gonna, like, the next Blood Angels list I build is going to be Liberator Assault Group. I prefer having a couple of Impulsors, so I'm probably gonna, I'll maybe make a video about how I'm gonna do that. But yeah, I do think that if you don't care for Impulsors and you just want to spam MSU units, then I think that will be the one, possibly the strongest way to play Blood Angels now. You can still do the Angelic Inheritors thing. I actually talk about it a lot in the video I've got coming out tomorrow. Because I obviously did just play Angelic Inheritors to a 5-game tournament. I went 3-2. I had 2 pretty tough losses. So that's what I'm talking about in tomorrow's video. If you've got any other questions or comments, leave them on the stream. I'll try and answer them if there's like a rules question or somebody didn't understand something. Yeah, but that's it. Guys, have a great night. Next time we can theory craft a list with the worst units. I don't know if there's all that much value in going over the worst units. Occasionally, I suppose I do videos on that, but yeah. I think theory crafting the strongest unit, the strongest list now, I think in Liberator Assault Group, like, if we think of, like, when Liberator Assault Group was winning all the tournaments, and it was like those Bloodless Angels, because Bloodless Angels was winning everything, right? What was Bloodless Angels doing? Bloodless Angels was spamming a crap load of cheap units, right? Like, that was all Bloodless Angels was. Do you know what? I did that, like, yeah, let's look at that for 2 minutes before I go. Because there was a tournament where we had, like, first and second place with Bloodless Angels, right? So let me just remind myself what the hell first and second place on Bloodless Angels look like. This is how I felt about Bloodless Angels, honestly. I never actually played it. So what was good in Bloodless Angels was, like, you do have an Impulsor Captain Assault Intercessor combo. Thanks, Siri. We were doing, like, 2 units of Assault Intercessors, 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, 2 units of Vanguard Veterans, the double Vindicator tank. That's actually got a crap load of shooting in it. I guess the crap load of shooting gets... But yeah, so it's like Jump Intercessors, Vanguard Veterans. So yeah, this guy was literally spamming 5 cheap units of jump packs. And then the other one, he was spamming Impulsors with the jump Intercessors again. He was actually doing 3 Incursors, 3 Predators, 3 suppressors. Oh yeah, this was a bit of a weird janky list. But yeah, it is literally spam those units that you think are cheap and good and just have loads of them, right? And both these lists actually had quite a lot of shooting, but I guess Bloodless Angels was benefiting quite a lot from +1 to wound. Since then, we've seen the Blade Guard take over the meta, and it's 12 and it's 16 Blade Guard. My desktop background just changed. That is weird. Why did that change? Okay. But yeah, so I guess that is what that's what's seen as good, right? Like, it's the Bloodless Angel. Well, it's the spam, lots of cheap stuff that can trade really, really well. MSU should be theory crafted that 4-in-1 has almost 100 Marines. Yeah, I mean, lots and lots of cheap units that can just trade. I thought you were going to take Dante 3-man and a 6-man. Sorry if I missed it. Maybe. Like, I think Dante +6 is okay, but I think it might be better just to do lots and lots of cheap ones, honestly. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably start working on another tournament list in the near future. There's an army list show coming on Sunday. I guess we should probably just draw a line under all the armies submitted up until now and say, if you have submitted a list, the queue resets. Because anything that was submitted before today is irrelevant, because everything is dropped in points. So if you've got a list for this, like if you are building a new list over the next few days, drop it in the comments section, and we'll get you on the Sunday Army Show. So if you really want to be on the Sunday Army Show, do it tonight, because I'll do it like in ascending order. So first come, first serve for this week on Sunday. So yeah, have a great night, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Leave a like on the stream if you didn't do that. I would appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow. New tactics video. Thanks again for the super chats, the support. I do appreciate every single bit of it. All right. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.